Hey, welcome back to part two of The Actor's House in my Building the Career series. I am so excited to get back to this. On the first episode, we built the shell, and today we're going to tackle the landscaping. The only changes I've made since part one were I changed up the color of the columns a little bit to be better matching, and I added this little. I changed the big brick tiles, the big slate tiles, basically, to brick after looking at a lot more pictures of the inspiration buildings. Brick featured heavily for paths and patios and all that kind of thing, so that's what we're going to do. What I want in the front is a sort of, I want a little pond, but it's a fountain, but it's a pond, but it's a fountain. It's both. But I want it to be a really like just cute little overgrown watery space with a retaining wall, that kind of thing. I don't want it to be, all right, let's see here. I'm not sure. I'm going to fiddle with the shape a few times because I want it to look more, quote unquote natural. That's a good one. I was hoping I could tuck it right back against the house, but I'm not sure. Oh, we can. It just kind of messes. You see, when you do that, it kind of messes with the foundation a little bit, which is not an effect I want. So I think I just will keep it. Oh, we lost a column. Goodness. I think we will keep it that one tile away and fill in the rest with greenery. It's going to be so cute. Let's get an edge on this. I'm not sure that any of these edges, I was thinking about it. I'm like, I don't know that any of these are going to fit because they're going to look a little too modern. We may have to go into debug for some decent ideas. In fact, let's do that right off. I'm going to go into debug for Get Together because Get Together is the pack that really kind of includes the most European influence. I can't speak today. This little, oh, that's not bad. Let me see if there's another color that's a little more, because I don't want a brownish color. I want as close to gray as possible. Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, that looks actually pretty good. Excuse me. I don't know why I just said excuse me to the cursor. That's the most me thing I've done all day. Okay, I actually really kind of like that. Let's get the roof up so we can see, because it doesn't dominate the space, but when we add a cutesy fish fountain to it, and we need to raise that up a little. So let's use our handy dandy fountain platform. Excuse me. Make that a little bigger. I just think this fish is adorable. And if we're talking about things that are self-consciously like cinematic, this is a great choice. See if that's floating. It is not. Awesome. I do want it darker though. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, love it, love it, love it. Now this plinth might be just a little, God, that's just a little too, all right, let's get a regular rock. I thought for a minute, I was like, that looks awesome. And then it was like, that looks a little too modern. But a rock keeps a little more natural look. Okay, let's do this instead. And we'll use a pretty dark rock. We'll grab some fountain foliage. Which one do I like better? Oh, I think I like that one better. The water lilies. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And let's get a light in here as well. I'm going to put one under that rock to see if that does anything. Let's switch to night mode and see. Not really. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Lights are important. Lights are important. That's not bad. If I tuck them right at the edge of the rock, then enough light escapes from under it to give just a tiny bit. Okay, that's kind of pretty. And then we will probably go ahead and add a couple lights to the edge of it. But for the most part, we have our cute little fountain. Now, for all that this is based on medieval fairy tale architecture, we are in Del Sol Valley. We're not, but theoretically, we are in Del Sol Valley. So I do want to pay attention to what plants and stuff I use. God, I wish there were 20 by 15s in Del Sol Valley. I'm going to add a bunch of cedars. I think cedars are pretty darn appropriate. Not a bunch. A bunch is not true. Not true. It's a lie. But I think cedars are probably good. Some scrubby brush. We'll get a nice little elm tree. One thing I'm cognizant of, and God, I used that word so much last time, and I'm going to use it again today, is with this overhang, those of you who hate lack of symmetry might be twitching a little bit right now because there's this weird space with the roof, and I wanted to put some sort of pretty tree in there. Now, it is, because it is LA, we could do sort of a crawling bougainvillea and it would fit in just fine. Why don't we do a very romantic one, like this romantic... Oh, yeah. This will be... It's weird because it's such a big... It's a big bunch of flowers, right? But just adding... It kind of adds the California vibe to it. And we don't have to worry about it clipping into the fireplace because the fireplace is its own thing. So we can actually make it more shallow. I'm probably driving some of you nuts by continuing to mess with the thickness of this bougainvillea. But I just want it to be right. I appreciate, by the way, as I kind of kick the tires with this series, I appreciate kind of, I will probably get faster at this. I will get better at this. By the time we get to Style Influencer, I'll look back at this and be like, ugh, such a remedial video. But honestly, I'm so thrilled with this house. This is right up my alley. I was telling folks on my stream the other day that my comfort architecture is spellcaster houses. If I need to like feel comfortable and happy and I really want, you know, just straight comfort architecture, I go right to making little houses for spellcasters. And it's not so much that I'm into Glimmerbrook, because I'm not. I think the lighting is really awful in Glimmerbrook, and that definitely affects my happiness with it. But I think the spellcaster stuff and Realm of Magic and all that is so in my wheelhouse. So we're just going to add a few of these. So it's sort of like spilling up onto the fireplace. I just love that kind of look. Love that kind of look. And again, very, very Disney-ish. I do want the place to be not so much overgrown as, again, just sort of words are hard. Self-conscious. It's self-consciously fairy tale. So let's bring more of those, like, you know, oh, these fences are so dilapidated, when they're not. They're just covered in very carefully curated ivy. Oh, and this is our actress, by the way. This is Cynthia. I paused at a very sad face. She's looking tense, and that's because she doesn't have an interior to her house yet. She's like, could you just make me a bathroom? I'm like, I'll get there. I'll get there, girl. Don't worry about it. Chill. Like, why do you have to be so worried all the time, Cynthia? But like I said in the first video, Cynthia received an inheritance from a elderly relative, and that is enabling her to kind of do her little Del Sol Valley dream. Now, if I was being truly true to Del Sol Valley, she'd have a garage or a car or parking space. But you know what? She parks right now. I don't know. Where does she park? Does she park on the street? Do I make this into a little parking space back here? We could do that. Parking space in the rear of the house would not be like unheard of. Yeah, honestly, let's think about that. Because we could go to like here. Let's go into general debug. Find a car. Now she doesn't own, she didn't get that huge. Like, this is an expensive house. Storybook style houses in Hollywood are regularly going for like a 1-2 million. But maybe she had just enough left over to get the cute little sports car she's always wanted. And so that lives out back here. Let's keep our bougainvillea a little more contained. Oh yeah, I like that. I'm digging that. And then we're going to have one more little fence. Same one as before. Let's see. What I want to do is, Sims will walk straight through these, by the way. Everything that is in the second level of debug, what I call double dog debug, all of that, it's like a hologram, right? Your Sims are just going to walk straight through it. They don't have mass, which is why I try to mix it up with objects that do have mass. To make everything, to make the pathing better for Sims. Gosh, does she want her little patio right next to... Well, maybe this is the point where we actually do bring in a stone wall. Just really... But she still needs to get to the car. It's important to be able to get to your vehicle. Oh, I know. We're going to bring a third type of... this is excess. This is all sorts of excess, but... Again, this is LA. And this is a fanciful style. So I'm going to use a real fence for this part just to bring in, and let me get rid of this brick. I would love to be able to take fences all the way to the end, but we cannot. But this lets her walk. I'm going to have to move a little bit of this because the bougainvillea does have mass. It's an actual item from Island Living. It's beautiful, isn't it? I love it. Now, obviously, Sims can't use... I'm being all careful about like, oh, I want Cynthia to be able to get to her car when we have no cars. But still, I want a little space there so she can get into her little patio. Because having that little tiny patio is super important. Now let's just get some general bushes, some shrubs and flowers. Am I still in get together? I am. And I want to keep to a pretty... I love the pale pink bougainvillea, and I think we might try to keep a bit to this sort of pinkish, pink, white, red kind of thing. I want roses to be better used than that. But like a lot of red, a lot of pink and white. I think we're going to keep to that. Like we're going to keep it to Love Day colors. Now, I am not a great landscaper. I have never pretended to be a great landscaper. I've learned a lot from watching YouTubers and streamers and tutorials and all that kind of stuff, but I don't consider landscaping my forte. However, I've gotten a lot better at it, and that makes me happy. Like improvement should make you happy. And what I'm going to add below this is some of this Hawaiian grass, again from Island Living. Island Living has the best like ground cover items, like such pretty and lush ground cover. And with a house that costs what this one costs, you know, she's obviously going to have a gardener and she's obviously going to waste water. And that we can't do because it's way too abrupt. That's not fairy tale at all, but the curves are. So we can add a little curves. Have it looking a bit more organic. Let's just get one of these and yes, kind of overgrow it. Whenever I go to LA, which isn't that often anymore, I used to have to go fairly often, but whenever I go to LA, I'm always struck as soon, you know, I know smog, I know, but the smell of flowers when you're driving through residential areas, the smell of flowers is just so stunning. It's, I love that smell and that overgrown, lush vibe. It's just beautiful. All right, so we're adding a bunch of flowers in here just to make this a more special place. And maybe we don't need to mix our cedars. Let's get a couple more of these back here. Oh, I like that. That gives her this kind of shaded garden in the back. Now, I am not going to fill every ounce of this with, you know, grasses and flowers. I'm not going to do the whole thing. But I think we do need a few more kind of flower moments. Or hedge. Oh, hedge. Oh, a hedge. I hadn't even thought about a hedge. And when you're doing hedges, you always got to do that hedge check. Hedge check. Is it going through the wall? No. Then we're good. And this, I think, oh, this is perfect up here because it'll sort of, again, hedge check. We're fine. Because it kind of fills in that space behind the fountain. Oh, that's cute. Oh, I do like that. We may have to put another hedge in here just to, yeah. And let's have it run straight into the flower areas. Oh my gosh, I like that so much. And we're going to put another couple back here. Let me change the time of day so you can see more what I'm doing. Nope, that doesn't help. Okay. And I'm not sure about this one because it's running too much into the bougainvillea. Let's see. I mean, we could have this trail along most of this side of the house, and I think that would actually be really lovely. And maybe we'll even do a couple more. This is the kitchen area, so I think we could. Don't want to completely mimic what we have in the fireplace. Let me go into live mode again real quick. Tool, elevate, and then again, -0.2. You can go to really precise decimals in Tool, which is fabulous. But that just keeps it from... There we go. And if the kitchen, if we really want to with the kitchen, we can end up adding like a tiny little window over the sink. One of my favorite things to do in a build is to add the tiniest little window over a sink. Because who doesn't like, I mean, if you got to stand at your sink, you might as well look out and see something pretty. Okay, let's get some of those pink flowers out front as well. And we are sticking to the exact same ones we used in the back. Yeah, mostly pink and red. Cool. Red, red shrub. I can never see red, red shrub without singing red, red wine. Red, red shrub. Don't copyright at me. Don't get mad at me, YouTube. Oh no, we have to give her some money. All right, there we go. And I don't want to make this too overgrown. Just enough to be pretty. I'm so into the pretty. All right, let's grab a few more of our curved grasses from Island Living. Now we'll have to play test this because sometimes if you nestle your mailbox too far back into greenery, it's just like, nope, can't reach. And what I'd like to do just around the edges here is just have a little bit, and I will have to check and make sure it doesn't, yeah. I wanted to expand a little bit outside this particular group of shrubs. Just give that fountain the sort of cool overgrown effect. Let's nestle our little corner cedar in there. I'm loving this. I'm really pleased. Let's make sure it doesn't clip over. Are we safe? Fence check. Okay, almost. We're almost good. That one's fine. We're just scooting this one out the tiniest little bit. Cool. Now when I'm checking, I also use my grids. I check with my grids. Oh, this is cute. I actually really like this. All right, let's get some terrain paint down here. One of the first things I do with terrain paint is I soften it down to as soft as I can get, because that way it's sort of like, you know, you're supposed to add a little bit of salt to your dish at a time. Taste as you go. This is my sort of like terrain paint as you go. Because it's really easy for it to look super cartoony. And that is like the exact opposite of what we want here. Go a little less soft for these, yeah. Over here, dun, dun, dun. Now, if you were to take the flowers away, the terrain paint would look really odd because I don't like go back and go under every single thing. But I do you know, if I have a space where a lot of plants are melding into each other, I'm going to connect the dirt a little bit more than I otherwise would, that kind of thing. But I don't go under every single thing. I just want it to look more natural than it otherwise could. It's like a makeup for your belt. I will probably add a few like little tiny grasses along the side of the fountain, but we've gone a long time today and I think it's time to wrap it here. So here's where we are now. Here's after part 2, after our landscaping. Hey, thank you for coming along for the second part of this little series. I'm having such a great time. In the next one, we'll make that the final one. We'll work on the interior. I'll probably have some of it done just so it fits into a non-ridiculous time frame. But I'm so thrilled that you're joining me for this, and I will see you in my next video.